Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network. Become enlightened, have fun, and tell all your friends and family to share with everyone they know. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble while following us on Facebook, or find us on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts can be found on Libsyn, iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. Most of all, remember to go to our official website at consciousradionetwork.com for past episodes, future shows, and scheduling. We also want to welcome our international audience. Don't stop now. Enjoy the community. Subscribe or follow today.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good day, everybody. Welcome, wherever you might be on the spaceship we call Earth. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network's podcast series, The Seance. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Meckes. If this is your first time tuning in, please click subscribe, like, share, comment. And also don't forget to follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts. And also don't forget to support us on Patreon at Project_Truth. The links are in the show description. Now today, guided by the ancients, a sound healing practitioner who guides transformative journeys through ancient wisdom and authentic self-expression. With the blue dragon as his guide, he connects individuals to primordial rhythms and ancestral insights, fostering healing and personal growth. His flagship program, Primal Path, empowers participants to reconnect with their true selves through sound and spirituality. Let's welcome to the seance today, Bjorn Lestrud. Was that correct?
Yes. Well done.
Yes. So how did this journey find you, or did you find it?
It was a case of it finding me, though I was, you could say, unconsciously looking for it.
Yeah.
I had been traveling. I quit my corporate job around 2017, and I had been traveling around the world for a few years. Lived in like 15 different countries over like that period.
Yeah.
And during that time, some things started happening physically. Most notably, I started getting this, I guess you would call it chronic arthritis in my knees. And it got to the point where I couldn't sit for more than a couple of minutes without having to like straighten out my legs just to get some relief from the stiffness.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of put a pin in that for right now. So I landed in Mexico at some point near the end during COVID, partly just because the restrictions were so much less than other places that it just seemed like a natural place to go. And I had a friend there, and it had already been on my bucket list to travel. So, all right, let's go. I thought it'd be a cool place, though. I had never really gotten into spiritual practices more than just meditation and yoga and such.
Yeah.
So we're there, and my friend has an accident, and he hurts his toe, his big toe. And, I mean, it was really, really black and blue. Like, pretty much I saw multiple people look at his toe and tell him, you know that's going to fall, your toenail's going to fall off, right?
Yeah.
Telling him that. So I just seen him 2 days prior, and he comes up to me and he says, look at my toe. And I look at his toe, and it's completely normal. The whole toenail is there. No discoloration at all. I mean, the thing is white.
Wow.
Or, normal. And I'm like, how did that happen? And he told me he went to this group ceremonial experience called the Light Portal. Which is a kind of a collection hodgepodge of different practices and traditions kind of melted into this sort of dynamic environment. So it was like 15 to 20 of us, because I decided to go and try it out. He said he went to this thing and that's what healed his toe. So I'm like, well, sold.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like watching a miracle.
Right.
So I went to this thing, and there were like 15 to 20 of us lined up all around in a circle around the outside. They were doing this thing once a week, and they had us go through like some biodynamic breath work, which is like movement and breath and strong breathing combined. And then we were doing, I think there were a couple of qigong moves thrown in there, and then of course we were all smudged with copal before we came in, and then they had us lie down on these mats, and then the four facilitators would take turns, several of them at a time, would be going around the room, like doing physical body work, energy body work on people, like physical, like organ release type stuff.
Yeah.
While someone would be chanting and drumming, and there may be other sounds going on depending on who was there. Might be other instruments, a variety of things. You don't quite know what to expect at any given moment because it's all kind of emerging in the element of it.
Yeah.
So this little woman, came up to me, and she's from this long line of Muslim healers, and they do a very specific type of energy work that's very physical, and it hurts a lot.
Wow.
She's this tiny little woman. She came up, she started digging her fingers into my body in these different spots, and it was excruciatingly painful.
Yeah.
And I just, was everything I could do not to scream. And there were people screaming, during this time. As it was going on. Some people were screaming, some people were crying. It depended. So she's working on me and digging into my leg and doing this stuff. And then she gets up and leaves after a while. And I just start laughing, uncontrollable laughter, and kind of bursts through. And I sort of start to sense this element of myself that's like a different element of myself that's in control in that moment than what I'm used to. But it was okay because I was laughing and it felt good, in my body.
Yeah.
So I wanted to explore more after that. And I signed up to do a private session with two of the facilitators, the same woman, Ina, and her partner, Jose. And they came to my apartment. And so this was like a 4-hour session.
Wow.
Ina worked on me for an hour and a half, just digging in everywhere. You mean the light portal was painful? That would be like times 10. And just going to town. And then afterward, the three of us sat in a circle, and we had a discussion about what she interpreted of what she saw or felt. And she was, I noticed this fear and anger from the energy of your father's side, and this stuff from your mother's side. And I noticed that you had this Native American shaman guide, and you had this jaguar guide, and she was going on and on about this. And then it was kind of like, okay, so now we do this next portion, the last portion, where we serve you hape. So you heard of that medicine before?
Hape?
Yeah.
Is it similar to like something like ayahuasca?
It's much more grounding. It's more of it's a tobacco product.
Oh.
But it's known as shamanic snuff because it's not just tobacco. There are elements of other plants in there depending on which hape it is. The combination will be different. Sometimes there will be ashes from like a ceremonial fire, maybe from an ayahuasca ceremony.
I think yes. I think I did have that because when I had the first night of ayahuasca, we would sit up in front of the shaman would ask each of us individually to come up in front of her, and we'd sit. At that point in time, I was like kind of almost drifting, not quite, but there was like she'd like almost like a long straw type thing and go right up in your nostrils and stuff. I'm like, whoa, what's that? I think it sounds familiar. It sounds familiar.
So with hape, like if you're in a ceremonial context, there's what's called a tepe. It's kind of like an object shaped kind of like this, and one end goes in the nose of the receiver, and the other is blown and you do both nostrils.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that is what they were using in their sessions as a form of medicine to help, I guess you could say, shut down the mind of the person, quiet their mind so that they could connect with spirituality more.
Yeah.
So they served me this hot pain medicine my first time doing it in the private session. And then Jose gets up behind me and he's got 2 maracas. He starts shaking them in my ears. Like I have a couple of maracas right here, right? He's just like,
Yeah.
so I think like there's no way I could think about anything. All right. And then he starts chanting. I don't know exactly what he was chanting, but it like something sort of tweaked in me. And next thing I know, I'm starting to make these chanting sounds, but it's like super guttural, super uncomfortable. And I feel like I'm lifting the weight of the world out of me when this sound starts coming through. Couldn't stop making the sound though. It was like, it was not backing down, it had to come through. And then afterward, I was just sick on the floor for hours, 4 hours, 4 hours. I did not even like want to lay on a couch. I purged, a lot in the container that they provided, and
Yeah.
that was it. But then I woke up the next morning and that arthritis in my knees, the pain, all gone.
Wow.
So that was like the beginning of it for me.
Wow. Yeah, those when you have that type of experience that you just are, what's cool about it is it's kind of like a roller coaster, but like a dark ride. You don't know what's coming. You don't know what's coming ahead of you. And when you have these ancient traditions and the spiritual ceremony that's happening around you, it almost throws you back in time. It is an out of body experience, more likely, more or less. And that's what it felt for me as far as the ayahuasca experience.
Yeah.
And now with this journey this part of the journey,
Mm-hmm.
this seems like this helped bring out the authentic self-expression within you, correct?
Yeah, it was like the opening of the door, so to
Yeah.
speak. Yeah, energetically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very, very limited though when I first started using it, and it has grown in such ways I never imagined it would.
Yeah. Now this led you into the founding of Blue Dragon Healing, correct?
Yeah, and a lot of that came just because of how my own journey worked out, where I kind of realized that if I was going to create, say, for example, an acronym, which I have for transformation or a healing journey, I came up with like 4 letters called PATH, P-A-T-H. So it's like the first thing that we need to experience is our own pain, right? And that is the thing, being willing to experience and feel that pain is what actually opens up the door to awakening.
Yeah.
And then a massive opening and insight comes in, and as you might have euphoria and a peak moment and you love everyone, but then we generally tend to come back down from those moments, and a lot of people are just sort of left chasing those moments. And so for me, it was with the expression that I was developing, that I became aware of in the earlier part of that journey. What I've been able to do is to use that expression to essentially work fuel my own growth and my own integration of the different peak moments that I've had.
Yeah.
It's like you can have a peak moment, but then you come back down. So what's next? Well, you have to learn to embody that, right? And that's the hard part, because that means you come back into your body, you actually feel what needs to be felt, you install practices, and you look for those moments in everyday life, you know. And then beyond that is heritage, what I would call it, which is you at some point you figured out your way through it, and you developed your own unique way of sharing what you learned and the pain you went through, and that's your heritage. And then you learn to share that with people, and that's like a whole nother level of integration and understanding of your own gifts. It's just like for me how it works.
Now describe Blue Dragon. When I first heard about it, Blue Dragon Healing, it's a cool website. I like it.
Thank you.
Especially the logo. And for those, before we move further, how can people find you?
I believe the website, at least on this video, is right on the bottom there, bluedragonhealing.net. I do my best to keep the resources there, and then I have an email list, and I'm now developing a better like newsletter to really keep people like understanding all the different things of what I'm offering going on, and how they're changing and shifting and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so you had a question about the Blue Dragon?
Yeah, so the Blue Dragon, because I noticed on your website you have a people can demo a 3-minute sonic mini journey.
Mm-hmm.
Describe the music.
Sure. So there's a spiritual element of it, which is that I'm becoming a vessel and connecting with my guides. And I know how my guides work, what kind of guides I have. They're about a third dragons, a third angels, and then the other third are just an assortment of other life beings, but a lot of shamans from a variety of different cultures.
Yeah.
So I just open myself up and I let myself sing in a lot of these different frequencies, cadences, ranges, and a language comes out. And then I'm also, depending on what part of a ceremony I'm doing, I usually have a buffalo drum that I'm hitting. It has a really big, deep resonance. And then I have some solfeggio tuning forks I usually use at the beginning and the end, because the work is kind of just opens up the whole system to receive, and then the tuning forks right at the end, it's like the body, they just go right in. And the maracas as well. So it's kind of like I go through a foundational piece on like a group session or like a live events that I do for free. I go through like a full piece of foundational work with the group, and then bring out the maracas and chant with the maracas, start to bring people back to their bodies.
Yeah.
And then it's the resolution of the ceremony. So it's a softer tones, different energy, and then more tuning forks and a singing bowl as well.
Oh, yeah. I normally have the sing. I have a set of crystal bowls behind me on the shelf. I had them packed up before the hurricane because I'm like, if anything happens, I'm gonna have these things packed up. But luckily, nothing happened. But they're still packed up. So, speaking of singing bowls and other, sound therapy, sound healing modalities that are out there, what makes this different or unique among the others?
So part of it is that no session will be the same as any other because I'm channeling. So I'm bringing in what's coming in the moment for the energy that I'm serving. That's one element. I mean, that's the major part of what makes it unique. But I also don't know of anybody doing something like this where they're doing this kind of chanting work with a buffalo drum. And I'm a certified biofield tuner, so I I've been trained on how to really use tuning forks for energy healing work, and become quite effective at doing that as well. So people generally, I like people to experience the work and decide for themselves whether they resonate with it, because they'll know whether they enjoyed it. Because did they enjoy the sounds? Did it make them feel good? That's the main thing about it for me. Does it make you feel good?
Right. Yeah. And it's unique. And I would assume it's unique for the individual, depending on, if you're giving it to a group
Yeah.
of people, or if you're doing it for an individual,
Yes.
it's unique for that individual or that person.
It is. Yeah. And that's part of the beauty of working on the level of spirit, and creating a real connection to other people where the ego doesn't have to get in the way. Now, of course, sometimes when I'm doing the work, I'm channeling, and my mind might activate and say, something judgmental about, what's happening or something. But
Yeah.
that doesn't even happen that much. So
Yeah. Without having to give too much detail, do you have any, could you share a testimonial or a breakthrough experience that you had with one of your clients?
Sure. Well, I mean, I have different types of experiences
Yeah.
that people have. It's like a wide range of things, I guess, because most people listening probably are not like looking to jump and book like private work session. They probably are just more curious about how can the general sound work benefit them. So I'll sort of eschew from that. Let's see, I have a couple here. My website. Okay, so I remember I did a I don't know 3-5 minute chant for Abby, and suddenly she said, like, the whole energy changed in the space, and this was not a planned work, but I ended up doing it, and she was seeing visions with her third eye. She said that she felt her heart open a lot, and it gave her a very deep sense of peace. My friend Garrett, he told me that this testimonial is not really a testament of what he really said, but he said in one of my group sessions, and he said that it had a quantum type of healing effect on him, where he went in wanting one thing and came out with something even deeper. He ended up getting a lot of clarity on his business, but then also finding himself with a deeper sense of patience and gratitude for his partner.
Yeah.
There is another gal who she was struggling in the workplace with feeling very crabby and reactive, and so she experienced the work and said that she found it much easier to deal with people and not react to or take on their stuff. So those would be some examples.
Yeah, taking on other people's energy and overreacting with emotion.
Yeah.
We all do that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So do you see that, this show is all about metaphysics and quantum stuff, everything, just really cool stuff. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that people just don't understand. But that's why it's changing. That's what this show is for, is to change that paradigm, to create that paradigm, and to open up people's minds to this ancient and many different ancient customs or thoughts or stuff like that. But do you see that this is a growing this type of work that you're doing and other work is becoming more popular? It's getting
Yeah,
more rave.
I think the best way I can describe it is, so my friend Kyle, he's like a comedian, but he does like spiritual comedy. And he was saying, like, introducing yourself in 2014. Hi, I'm Kyle. and then like introducing yourself in 2024. Hi, my name is Delongye Song. I'm a vampiric bat that was incarnated into such and such, and connected to all these other great beings and goddess, priestess, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like spiritual pornography, basically.
Oh man. Yeah, and there's so many different modalities out there. And like I said, like sound healing, there's so many different types of sound healing. And there's what's being used out there, like sound baths. Go take a sound bath. And people are like, what the heck is that? I could sit in my car with the bass rumbling. That could be a sound bath. But singing bowls and sound baths and sound healing and Reiki and Qigong and Tai Chi and stuff like that. A lot of the work that you do is it doesn't necessarily have to be in person. It's remotely, correct?
Yeah, I do everything remotely for the most part. It just works so well for the work because it's the quantum field. So,
yeah, wow. So if someone were to go check out your website, what would they expect? What would
So they right away they can get a 3-minute audio sample without leaving the page or having to put in information or download anything, and they can just hear some of the sounds and see if they enjoy what it sounds like. And if so, then there's an invitation to join my email list to stay apprised of all the different workings of things that are going on. It's a very easy way to learn what is happening and what I'm offering. And then an invitation on a third step to download a 26-minute like audio journey that I did and experience that. And then the site is sort of structured kind of like bit by bit as a person would naturally think about or progress through the work or where their interest would go. The site's kind of designed to accommodate that.
Yeah. Now as far as we started off, we kind of brought up the authentic self-expression. What exactly? What's your definition of the authentic self-expression?
One second, I'm going to turn my light on.
All right.
There we go.
There we go.
I don't have very great computer lighting yet, so I'm dealing with overhead, but
yeah.
Was it better before or better now?
That's good. Yeah, it's brighter. See more definition in the back of the room.
I'm glowing.
Yeah. So self-expression, what's your definition of authentic self-expression?
Well, I don't have a single definition for authentic self-expression, but I'll tell you how I view it. I view it as a subjective thing for each person, meaning that no matter where a person is on their spiritual journey, there's always, usually, generally, an innate sense of things, that an intuition that they can either choose to listen to and follow and express or not.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's the intuition is the closest, like, universally understood gateway to that I can think of.
Yeah. Trusting your intuition, your higher self, that internal dialogue sometimes.
Higher self, right? And then also the body has a lot of wisdom too. So following and learning about, like, when you have a gut reaction to something is also like just as important.
Yeah. Like, for instance, when you had the issue with your knees, with your legs and stuff, the pain in your legs, your body's trying to tell you something. You got pain in your legs, you got, and anywhere in your body, and I've had some practitioners go, well, listen to that. Your body's trying to tell you something. Maybe, And sometimes it's linked to an injury that you've sustained here in this lifetime. But there has been also some connections of that to ancestral memory, ancestral connections, past and present,
Yeah.
as well as past life issues and traumas that have gotten away that are lining up within this timeline of where you are in this life based on what happened in a past life. It's almost like this cellular memory.
Yeah, everything works through the DNA.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's cool. When I started researching that and hearing more about that in a lot of other healing modalities, that is being looked at much closer, and even science, quantum science, in the general science field, they're looking at that. They're actually looking at that now. It's like, finally.
I know, right?
But
that would be amazing if more people actually, well, I guess it's not really if, it's more a matter of when more people move into that space.
Yeah. And I'm definitely going to sample some of your music. Definitely. I probably about maybe 10, 15 minutes before we went on, before we chimed in and stuff like that, I took a quick bit. It was like maybe 5 or 10 seconds, really quick on the demo and stuff like that. I was like, okay, yeah, that definitely resonates. I listen to a lot of chant music and stuff like that. So
okay, that makes sense that you would.
Yeah. And but before we close the show, again, for those who are watching, you can see the banner scrolling down there, but I always like to have the guest speak it rather than myself, but it's also going to be in the show notes. Again, where can people find you, where they can
Yeah, the easiest way is through my website, www.bluedragonhealing.net, because it's a central hub for everything that goes on with my brand and my offerings, and the best way to navigate through it.
Yeah. And you can be found on Instagram, TikTok.
Recently, I just started a TikTok account, and I'm going to start posting some short video chants. I'm just going to make them up as I go and be posting those soon.
Yeah.
But I'll have all that on my website too. On the footer, there'll be a link to the TikTok. There is a link to the TikTok and the Instagram in the footer. Cool. And the resources page, I think, has my podcast I did. It has my Insight Timer profile with my live events and other offerings there, and then some other downloads people can get for free too.
Yeah. Are you doing any traveling soon? Taking your music and your work to the road?
Not just yet, but I'm starting to get a sense that something might occur in 2025. We'll see. There's an exploration ahead.
Yeah. Well, if you ever make it to Florida, let me know.
Whereabouts in Florida are you?
Central, smack dab in the center of the state, just outside of Orlando. Claremont, called Claremont, Florida. It's about 30 miles west of Orlando, but between Tampa. I'm between Tampa and Orlando. Yeah, but I'm about an hour from anywhere.
It's a great place to be and a terrible place to be.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, let us know, and then if you ever come down here and want to leave the winter behind you from the north and come down to the south and do some sound healing and stuff, group sessions, let me know. I can help advertise for you and promote that.
That might be interesting to explore. I have a friend down in Fort Lauderdale, though he's been going on cruises all year, but I think that's his location. That's pretty far from you?
No, well, it's about 3 hours, but that 3 hours is if I take the scenic route, it's about 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. But
Okay.
I used to live in Fort Lauderdale, back in the late 90s. So I'm used, I got used to that travel, that trek down there. But I know I somewhat remember and knowing my way around there. So, yeah.
All right. Well, maybe there'll be an opportunity to connect you with a friend of mine down there or something and figure something out.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Cool. So before we go, what would you like to offer as a takeaway for our audience today?
That spirituality is not just about having amazing visionary experiences. The real rewards come from the physical embodiment of what you have learned and the information you have taken in. So don't sell yourself short and chase the next peak experience, but put in some real work or find a teacher that can help you do so.
Yeah. Yeah. And pay attention to the hints and signs and symbols around you.
Yes.
Spirit works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of amazing. I'll leave you with a little thing. Just the other day, like usually when my site activates, I have to be in a pretty deep meditative state. The other day I was in a meditation, and right as I came out of meditation, I literally was shown a book on a stand, the name of the book and the author, and it stuck in my head, and I literally went and I looked at this book, and it was a book about like healing and enlightenment and this technique called the metaphoric technique, or I think my brain might be scrambled, but so I went and I bought that book. But that was the most specific direct communication I have ever had of like something to do, like actually see the book on a stand, like you can feel the energy of the way the stand looked and the way it was lit up and how the soft lights that were sort of glowing off of it.
Yeah. Wow. Intriguing. Very intriguing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually think like I may go next year if time and budget permitting. I may go to Europe to learn the metamorphic technique.
Okay.
Because it's only offered in person in Europe.
Wow.
But I think I'll find out a way to bring it into virtual using like a skeleton that I could, push on and feel physicality, even though it wouldn't be the person that working on. There's still a connection there.
Yeah. Yeah. Using the quantum field, quantum entanglement, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Bjorn, pleasure, my friend. Namaste. Thank you so much. A blessing to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Sharing your experience and your work. And everybody definitely check out Bjorn's work, Blue Dragon Healing. And go check it out at thebluedragonhealing.net. Don't forget. And check out his music. It is awesome. And definitely stay tuned. He might be hitting the road sometime next year. We don't know yet. He'll keep us in tuned. No pun intended, but pun intended. Bjorn, take care, brother. Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody, for watching and listening to The Seance on Conscious Radio Network. Until then, we'll see you next time.